I'm at the other side of Danes Dyke now, and a little bit of wind coming through. There's the stream, Gell Spring. You can hear it running. It absolutely roars in winter time. And former security guard told me about 5 or 6 years ago. Now just up there, we might go up there in a moment. Well, it won't be in a moment, but shortly. There's a golf course. And this man was head of security on the golf course. I think they'd been having a little bit of trouble. I'll not say what with, but they employed him anyway. And he had 2 dogs. And on a night, he would patrol the perimeter of the golf course, which looks onto Danes Dyke. And on this particular night, so I'm walking towards the perimeter of the dyke, and there's an animal inside the dyke in these trees. I think we're talking November time. It's making a very peculiar sound, and he's the first to admit he'd never heard anything like it in his life. He said it sounded like a cross between a human being screaming, a basset hound barking and howling, and a cat screeching. And he stood on the edge of the golf course listening to this. And there's the golf course. And obviously this is where the security guard stood, observing and listening. The night he could hear all the trees breaking and crashing, and the strange animal moving about and making unusual sounds. And whatever it was breaking trees and smashing things and charging about the dyke. And I asked him what he did. He said he'd got no desire to investigate what that was. Obviously an animal. He said, and me and my dogs, we went back. Look at that, what do you think's going to happen there? Me and the dogs, we went back to his little apartment, locked the door, and just ignored the sound. And that's not the first time that somebody's told me unusual things of that nature have been reported in this, what is a relatively small bit of woodland. I've said many times, whatever these things are, the landmass where they're being seen is not big enough to support them. Perhaps unless you go to North Yorkshire, and you've heard me talk about the 525 miles of woodland, moor and forest, and something's got a fighting chance of remaining elusive, but not at Danes Dyke. But what it was that the security guard heard, we'll never know. All I do know is that it shook him up considerably. And we'll end that there.